right, guys, welcome to episode 4 of the Morning Tea. I am here with Roberta Shepherd, who I met over a decade ago in the holistic health program that was offered at Grant MacEwan. I'm super excited to have Roberta with us. She is a holistic health practitioner, but she's also really honed in on flower essences and has become a real master in the area of flower essences. So I'm really excited to hear more about the amazing and powerful energy of flower essences. First off, though, Roberta, what's in your mug?
Okay, thanks, Annie. Thanks for the cool intro. I picked this cup for everybody.
Love it.
For everyone watching and for you, Annie. Good morning. Beautiful.
Thank you.
And we have what might look like a dark soup, but it is a smoothie with chocolate protein powder, some almond milk, some spinach, some fresh ginger, some banana, some frozen, did I say blueberries? Frozen blueberries. Yeah. Anyway, so if I get blueberries in my tea, you'll let me know.
I'll let you know.
Yes.
And this morning I am drinking this chaga chai from Hollow Reed Tea and Spice out of Castlegar.
Nice.
Mushrooms are a great way to boost your immunity, so I figured that would be a good choice.
They're also modulating, which is in fact better for the immune system at this time based on the fact that we don't know really how this virus is working. So modulating the immune system is a better approach, which mushrooms are great for.
Perfect. Thank you for clarifying that. I will post a link to where to find this particular blend under the video. All right, so Roberta, tell us a little bit about flower essences. For those of us who are maybe completely new to the idea, give us the 411.
Okay, I'll try to do the Coles Notes version here. So flower essences, I just want to clear up first the most common misconception: they're non-aromatic. So they are not in any way, they're not essential oils, because that often gets mixed up. Because the word essence is in there, people mistakenly think that it's an essential oil, which is super common. So they're non-aromatic. They are vibrational medicines that are ingested by mouth. And they work to provide healing for us on mental, emotional, and spiritual levels through resonance. So what happens is that we ingest, let's say, an essence for unconditional love. We all have the capacity to be unconditionally loving. We were born with that. It's innate in us. When we ingest the essence for unconditional love, what happens is that the vibrational medicine clears the pathway within us to the unconditional loving capacities that we already have. And so those things are drawn to the forefront through the way by which we can match the vibrational frequency of the medicine that we're ingesting. So we match and mirror each other. We do that all the time. When we ingest the vibrational frequency for unconditional love, it clears the pathway to our own unconditional love, and we can bring that expression to the forefront. Does that make sense?
Beautiful. Yes. I feel like there are definite lines to be drawn between flower essences and crystal energy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, some people make crystal essences actually. That does exist.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've covered that they're ingested, the benefits of them. So how are they created? Can I make this myself at home?
Sure, yeah. So they're created, I mean, you can't make it yourself at home. They are created by, you take the flowering tops of plants only. I was interested when I learned that every single plant has a flower, and it may not look like your standard typical flower, but every plant actually has a flower. So you take the flowering parts of plants only, and a flower is a spiritual expression of plant. Like just being with flowers changes the way we feel, right? So we take the spiritual expression of plant in the form of flower and put it into a crystal bowl with spring water. These parts of the recipe are important So the crystal bowl versus, say, if you use a different material, or spring water versus distilled water, those parts are important. And you put the flowers in the bowl with the water and put it into the sun for what's called the sun infusion method. So you put it into direct sunlight, and then the water becomes infused by the sun with the vibrational blueprint of the flower. So there's that vibrational spirit energy that gets imprinted onto water. And we know that water has the ability to hold information, and that water has the ability to hold memory and charge. So the water is then infused with the vibrational blueprint. Typically when they're being prepared, the people who are preparing them will meditate and pray with that preparation, and then drain off only the water. So none of the plant parts, but the water that has been imprinted with the vibrational blueprint is drained off. And then that's called the mother essence. And then from there you can decant into stock bottles, which is what I work with. And you put some preservative then with the stock. And then from there I decant from the stock bottles and create dosage bottles. So you can make it yourself, clearly not in winter.
Right.
Like a lot of the essences I work with I work with some local ones from my amazing teachers from way back, Lori and Robert. They have a local repertoire. But a lot of the essences I work with are Californian. Now we can see how they're able to make these essences year round, right? Because they, Patricia Kaminsky and Richard Kotz work in the beautiful Terra Flora Gardens in Nevada City, California. And so they have the ability to do these sun infusion methods all the time. So here in Alberta, we can really only prepare the essences seasonally.
So they do need to be fresh flowers.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So where can we get these essences from?
Yeah. So, I mean, you can purchase stock at many health and wellness shops. Robert and Lori, so Robert Rogers and Lori Sott Rogers, their business is Self-Heal Distributing. So they also distribute the essences to many of the shops here. And then I prepare dosage bottles. So I work with 166 different remedies, and my job is to be the interpreter between the plant spirit realm and the humans. So I get to be that kind of middle person, the liaison, where I hear the people and I can translate that into flower spirits. And I create dosage bottles. And at this time, I've chosen to waive my consultation fee based on all the intensity that's going on in the world. And I strongly feel there's a need for these medicines. As we sit in quiet, lots of things rush to the forefront, don't they?
Absolutely.
We're being invited to deeply go inward in a way that we never have before during these changing tides. And so these medicines can be really valuable at this time. So I've chosen to waive my consultation fee.
That's incredible. So what you're saying is that for free, people can come to you, figure out exactly what they need from the flower essences, and you're going to actually put together the tincture bottles, which people then can purchase from you.
Correct.
Amazing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So after this, we need to set up a call for us to do that, because I definitely would like to take advantage of that.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. What are there certain essences that you would recommend for people at this time? Like you said, well, we're sitting in our home spaces, all of these things, whether it be personal or, struggles within relationships or, all of these things are coming up. Yeah. Are there certain things that you would recommend?
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, as we receive these deep invitations to get quiet and turn inward, and I mean, that's not for everyone. We still have many people that are out in the community serving, and we honor them. And so they're going to have a different bag of things they want to address.
Absolutely.
In comparison to those of us that are maybe not working, schooling from home with our kids, home with our families, or home on our own, feeling isolated. There are lots of things that are coming to the fore. And the only reason why anything ever comes up is to be healed. So there are a lot of things presenting themselves at this time to be healed. So people do have some individual needs, certainly. And that's where my expertise can come in to help with that. But I want to focus on some medicines for fear, panic, hysteria, because I think that's really relevant. At this time when there's a highly contagious virus, the hysteria is equally as contagious. So living in fear, of course, is not going to help us at all at this time. And so I wanted to focus on some classic medicines for that. So the first that comes to mind is rock rose. And rock rose is one of Dr. Edward Bach, who is the founder, the British founder of flower essences from way back. He's the creator. It's one of his original remedies. So rock rose is for panic. It's for panic, fear of annihilation, fear of death, and to some degree, dissociation, which arnica comes into play there too. Arnica is prepared as a flower essence, and both of those can be for dissociative states. So when we are leaving the body, when the spirit leaves the body out of fear and panic and hysteria, and we're not always consciously aware of that. Like the spirit can leave like that. Mm-hmm. We've had traumatic experiences. It's a protective mechanism. So we're not doing anything wrong there. We're actually doing things to be kind and helpful and protect ourselves. And yet it's not sustainable because then we're not really present. So rock rose and arnica are great for that. Clematis is one of Dr. Bach's originals as well. It's very grounding. It's one of the most embodying essences that there are. And so what that means is we're coming into the body. It helps address an overly dreamlike state where, an addiction to being in reverie or daydreaming and never really being with 2 feet on the ground. So that, and Star of Bethlehem also comes to mind. Star of Bethlehem is for trauma at any point in the life's story, trauma. And when we're exposed to fear, panic, hysteria, current fear, panic, hysteria can trigger past fear, panic, hysteria.
Yes.
So that's where Star of Bethlehem becomes really, Star of Bethlehem is like I think of it as like a blanket. Like you go through a trauma, like here now I have this beautiful shawl my friend Kathy made me, so great. And someone comes behind you and puts a blanket around you to comfort you. That's Star of Bethlehem. It's like a spirit blanket.
I love that.
Around you to comfort and console.
Yeah.
2 other ones I wanted to mention. Scotch broom, which is a Californian remedy I work with. Scotch broom is for this very weight of the world experience where we can become crushed under the weight of the world.
Yeah.
And red chestnut. Red chestnut is also one of Bach's remedies, and red chestnut is for when there is a lot of panic and hysteria, and that causes us group panic and hysteria specifically. When there's group panic and hysteria, we can lose our ability to function and navigate in that situation. So yeah, we have these people, many of them are first responders who are like the epitome of, they bring an essence of red chestnut because the medicine itself provides the ability to move and to access the brain and the skills during group panic and hysteria. So these first responders who have the ability to go into panic and hysteria and function rationally, and that's not for everyone. These are blessed humans that bring a lot to this world, right? And 100%. Many of us don't have that capacity. Yeah. And so the red chestnut medicine helps us to, maybe many of us don't have that natural capacity, but we do have it. It's accessible in us because we all have the full spectrum of everything. So the red chestnut helps us to access that part of ourselves that can function and contact rational energy in the midst of group panic and hysteria. So those are just some.
Oh, it's beautiful. That's fantastic. Yeah. All right. Is there anything else that you want people to know about flower essences, about what you're offering? What would a session with you look like?
Well, typically, like not during these times, I would offer, like, for the first initial consultation, I would offer an hour to an hour and a half of time whereby I gather the context from a
Right.
person, which can include their life's account and, you know, what's going on for them and what they're bumping up against that they feel is a barrier, let's say, to personal evolution. So I gather all that context in an hour to an hour and a half. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm functioning with what I call intuitive selection. So I'm working, and I mean, the intuition is what comes and picks the medicines anyway. I think intuition is synonymous to God. So that part of me that's connected to spirit is coming and picking the medicines anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that at this time, that's the only thing. It's super therapeutic to share an account of our own story.
Yes.
That in itself, to be seen and heard in itself, is a medicine.
Very powerful.
So I love to offer that to people because I love to see and hear people in their stories. That's one of my favorite things. But right now, I'm just relying on the intuition. So, you know, I could do it if people give me some underlying themes or some things that are coming up for them in isolation, or if they're not in isolation and they're catching the panic and hysteria of being on the front lines, or there's stress, the overwhelm. So I can listen for about 5 minutes and put the medicines together and just hear, because they speak to me, not with words, but they come through. And so I can open up and I can hear the medicines for each person, which involves connecting with Great Spirit, knowing that me and Spirit are a team. And so I connect to that for them. So if I was doing it for you, I would ask anything or anyone that's here in your highest and best good to come in and to provide the information. And so then that happens, it's pretty quick. And then intuitively, within minutes, I can get a formula. I put the bottle together. People can come pick it up.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Okay. So as we kind of begin to wrap up, is there anything else, first of all, that you want to add?
Well, the only thing I would add is I just want to invite people at this time. Like, there's a lot of intensity of emotion. I love to offer this analogy of the emotional dinner party. So imagine you organize a dinner party and someone arrives at the door and you're like, no, I don't fucking think so. Or you slam the door on their face. Well, you wouldn't do that. We wouldn't do that. So we think of the emotions coming forward as, I call it an emotional dinner party. So let the guests, the emotional guests, sit at the table. This is how we process and this is how we move through. You're never going to process an emotion up here. Ever, 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 ever. Emotions and experiences and past traumas and all that it all gets processed through the body. So at this time, when lots of things are coming to the fore, I just invite people to play out the emotional dinner party, whereby all the different emotions are allowed to be at the table. And you invite them as welcome guests because there are messages in that.
Mm-hmm.
And the kicker here is to try to do it away from the mind and into the body. And so typically we'll be like, whoop, and we'll go back up there. Oh, redirect. Let's go back and be like, whoop. We're going to go back up there and make a story up about this emotion that's coming, or we're going to analyze it or judge it out of the mind and into the body. And I just invite everyone to have this continual emotional dinner party whereby all the emotional guests are welcome at the table, and you can hear them and you can listen to their messages. And I think that's a really cool tool, not just at this time, but all the time. So I wanted to offer.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And like allowing it to just be fluid and be where you are when you're there.
Yeah, acceptance, right? We all want to be accepted and met just where we are. And most of all, we want that from our own selves.
That's huge. That's so huge. I find that people will get into an emotional state that they don't feel is positive, and then they tack on guilt and shame onto this already negative feeling, and it can really spiral so quickly. So yeah, I think truly being present and sitting in your emotions, feeling into that, allowing them, surrendering to them. That word for me is very powerful. Just surrendering to that feeling. This is where I am now, and that's okay.
Yeah, without judgment. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. That was beautiful. Thank you. I'm gonna take that actual image.
Let's go dinner party.
Apply it. Yeah. All right. What is something that you are feeling super grateful for within the current climate? What is something that is just arising in you as just pure gratitude?
God, so many things. I am so thankful that I have a home to be in where I am safe.
Yes.
Yeah, just have been thinking a lot about people who don't necessarily have that. Whether that means they're being isolated with people with whom they're not safe, or they live in a precarious, living home, being homed is a very precarious scenario. Maybe they're not homed. Maybe, like, there are so many different scenarios that have people not feeling safe during this time. And I am so thankful that I've got these walls and this roof and, this natural light coming in. And, I'm thankful for my dishwasher.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for my, washing machine.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for my son's room that he loves with his own half bathroom in it. Like, I'm just so thankful. I'm thankful for this home where I get to feel safe.
Yeah.
That's really cool right now. Yeah.
Awesome. And one more thing. Do you have a great idea that is something that we can bring to our homes or our lives during this time, like an activity that we can do, or something we can engage in that might, keep us out of feeling the redundancy of isolation?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the emotional dinner party is really what I've been working with in that capacity, and just getting quiet. Like, what an amazing opportunity. So those of us that are at home and getting quiet, a friend of mine yesterday was talking about a time in her life when she had some time. Like, she had some time. Her son was going to a soccer camp. I think it was in the summer. She had a week or 2 weeks off. She took a staycation, she said. And so she would take her son. I love this. I want to apply this in this next period. She would take her son to the soccer camp, and then she would put herself on retreat. I love that. So she would put away her phone. She would read. She would write. She would listen to a guided meditation. Insight Timer is a really cool app with lots of guided meditations, and there's various different times. Like, you can do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. And she would eat mindfully, go for a walk. And I thought, that's awesome.
Yeah,
like, not,
I love that.
if people have kids at home all the time, that's not always going to be possible. But I just love this idea of, even if it doesn't have to be for a full week, like, what if you go on like an hour's retreat or 2 hours or however much time people have. And again, that's not always going to be feasible. So if it's like moms with kids, maybe it's going to be like a 5-minute bathroom retreat. No kidding, no shit. And bring the emotional dinner party into the bathroom. There's been lots of times I've sat on the lid of the toilet just to get away. And be like, just going to go within and take my own personal retreat inside of myself for however much time I have. So I just love that, how she said, I took myself on retreat. I put myself on retreat. God, that's awesome.
I love that.
Retreat. I know there's lots of really cool things popping up online and stuff, but are we doing the thing that we've always done, where we're like, okay, we have time, we have quiet, let's get busy.
Yeah.
Are we doing that thing? And to what degree are we doing that thing? So how can we create a little more balance and take advantage of this opportunity to put ourselves on retreat in whatever way that means for us?
Yeah. I love that.
With ourselves. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, Roberta, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your wisdom. And I hope everybody gets in touch with you to take advantage of the intuitive medicine that you create. I will post Roberta's contact information below the video, or at least a link to her Facebook page and social media, so that you can contact her that way. Yeah, check it out. Thank you everybody for coming. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
If you are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe so that you can have more great content. I'm sure Roberta will be back again. Anyway, that's it. Have a super day, guys.